I've bought stuff on Amazon when I was drinking. What's up, everyone? Today I'm going to be talking all about why you need to have your brand literally everywhere online. I'm going to walk you through why it's super important and give you a few tips on how to do it today, so that way when somebody finds you, they're able to see your brand over and over and over, so you in essence become the Apple of your industry. Stay tuned. What's up, everyone? This is Logan Shinholster with Contractor Growth Network. And before I jump into how do you get your brand everywhere, I want to talk to you about a little phenomenon that's called breaking up. I bring this up because imagine you just get broken up with. You're 15 years old, you just got your braces off, and you're all excited, and what happens? Your boyfriend or your girlfriend goes ahead and they break up with you. Your world's over. You're crushed. What's the point of even seeing 16 at that point? That was it. That was the highlight of your life. Now it seems like every song on the radio, every billboard you see, everything reminds you of that person. And now a reading from the late, great Michelle Branch, although I think she's still alive. Because you're everywhere to me, and when I close my eyes, it's you that I see. You're everything I know, and that makes me believe I'm not alone. I'm not alone. By Michelle Branch, still alive. That is what we're going to be doing for your company and teaching you how to do that. The goal is to be everywhere to the potential buyer of your services, so that way you become an Uber or an Apple or a Nike of your industry, where everybody knows exactly what you do, how you do it, why you do it, what this stuff costs, things like that. Just imagine what that'll do for your business, and I'm gonna walk you through exactly how to do all that. First off, why do you need to be all over the place? And it's called being omnipresent, being everywhere. Have you ever had like your mom or dad say that you have selective hearing? They have a whole conversation with you, and for some reason you only remember the one thing that you want to hear. Well, your brain works the same way whenever you learn something new. It's called selective attention. So if you learn a new word, a new idea, a new object, a new concept, you start to actually see that more and more often in everything, which is why when you get broken up with, you start to see stuff and it reminds you of different aspects of that person. There's ways to do that with your brand, whereas if somebody sees you, you can then pop up all over the place, so they think, oh man, they've always been here and I've always seen them, but now I recognize who they are because I finally reached out or saw some research, and now I see them everywhere. So you have just gone from practically unknown to being their entire world overnight. So let's start off with, why do you need to be everywhere? Why does your brand need to be omnipresent? Everybody buys differently, okay? The way that you buy a car is different than the way that I buy a car, which is different than the way that Alex, the camera guy, buys a car. I know my dad, for example, that dude is test driving 15 cars a month, just cause. He's got nothing better to do, and whichever car actually feels most comfortable to him, he's gonna buy that one. Some people, they have this thing called Carvana. I think it's like Carvana.com. You're practically just going on the Amazon of cars and buying online. So the way that everybody buys is very differently. Some people have to have referral source. Some people have to know somebody that's already used you, while others can go online, read some reviews, and they go, this is my company. So there's so many different ways that people buy that if you just straight up optimize or set yourself up for only one way, you're gonna nail it with one type of person, and that's it. You're filtering out everybody else. So by being everywhere, people can buy however they want to buy. And here's another reason why you need to be everywhere. Prospects need to come across your offer at least 7 times before taking that next step. What this really means is the first time somebody sees you, they don't really know much about you. And the more that you get back in front of them over and over and over, the more trust you build with them because they constantly see you, the more likely it is that they're actually then gonna buy from you. So that means that you need to get back in front of people over and over and over and over. Think about the relationships that you have with people in person. If you walked up to somebody in a networking group, gave them your business card, shook their hand, how likely is it for them to give you business versus this is the 7th week in a row, we'll say, that you've met them and you've shaken their hand and hung out with them? They're more likely because they know, like, and trust you. And that is no different whether it's in person or online. Based on that, we're gonna go a little bit offline and we're gonna talk about billboards. The average person every single week spends 20 hours in their car. That's 20 hours every single week the average person spends in their car, going over 200 miles every single week. 56% of people say that they actually remember the tagline, but only 26% of people actually remember the phone number, and only 28% of people actually remember the website. So it's big for a branding play. It's not really that big to actually get somebody to buy something from you, but remember that back to that rule of 7, they have to see you over and over and over. That's one way that this stuff works. That's why tech companies like Apple will still have billboards. Crazy, it's a tech company. Why would they ever need billboards? They still do it. Geico still does it. Knowing this is not gonna be something where somebody sees, oh wow, look at that new product, I'm gonna go ahead and buy right now. But they know that they have to get in front of you over and over and over so that you never forget about them. What they suggest is that you actually have 8 words or less. Now, here's the problem. If you are, let's say, Toyota, you can't have 30 cars on your billboard. That's way too many. Just like if you're a general contractor, you can't have 50 services that you portray. But when you have something online, you can specify based off of how people are interacting with you, what service you want to show them. Here's an example. If somebody comes into your website and they go specifically to a drywall page, well, you can show them ads after that, specifically about drywall and only drywall. So we're gonna talk about the hot new thing on how do you actually get everywhere, and that's with social media. And here's what I mean. You've got so many platforms on social media these days. You've got YouTube, you've got Instagram, you've got Twitter. You've got so many different platforms where you get to go on there as a company, as a business, as a brand, and get your message out there, get everything about you out there. Every single month, 2 billion people watch YouTube. That is over 25% of the entire world watches YouTube every single month. Instagram, you think that's not that big? Every single day, 500 million people watch Instagram stories. Not just Instagram as a whole, they watch Instagram stories every single day. So you wanna make sure that you're actually putting time and effort into social media just to grow that brand, because the more that you build out your actual existence, your company's existence on these different platforms, the better off you're going to be when it comes to people going through their own buyer's journey to figure out who do they buy from, how do they buy from you, what products they want to buy from you. Social media is huge. Now, another way to get in front of all these people is going to be with your website. And we're talking about having a website that is set up to sell both your product or your service and sell you. And people are seeking this stuff out. Your website's a great way to actually showcase everything that you're doing in a nice, organized manner. One of the issues with social media is that they kind of control what they want to show and how they want to show it. Website, you get to do your own thing. You get to showcase it however you want. And if somebody comes to your website, you can show them exactly what you want to show them when you want to show them it. And one last final way that's a really good way to get your brand out there online, outside of social media, outside of the website, is actually websites that your prospects are going to hire a company like yours. If you're selling camera equipment, you need to make sure that you're on Amazon.com, because everybody's going to Amazon. If you are back to that general contractor, you need to make sure that you've got a house.com listing. So those different little directory sites and different avenues that make sense for your brand, because people are buying from you. If you sell little trinkets, you need to be on Etsy.com. Think about where your potential customers are actually going to specifically seek out purchasing or hiring, and make sure you are on those websites and those channels, because it's great that you got social media and it's great that you got a website, but if you learn that 90% of the people in your industry, your competitors, are doing all their sales on like one website, make sure that you're there too. We figured out why. Why do you need to be everywhere? And we also know how. How do you actually get there? We need to figure out what are we actually putting out online. We know we got to use social media, and we know we got to use a website, and we know we have to do all this because people need to see your stuff over and over and over. But how do you actually do it? The first part is going to be content. This is anything that brings value to people, whether it's blogs, videos, infographics, or anything that you can give to somebody to help them learn about your company, your business, your product, your service. That is content, and that will help with the people who actually need to see your product more or need to learn more about what you do, because that's part of their buyer's journey. In fact, 85% of people are more likely to make a purchase after seeing a product review or a service review in a video. Before we got a real camera, my problem was that I would shoot everything on an iPhone. I would have this thing set up on a tripod and I would record. Well, I didn't want to stick a wire into this phone and have it stream across. So what I did was I went on YouTube and actually watched YouTubers show me the difference between one product versus another. And I came across one that said, you should buy this exact mic and use it with this camera. And guess what I did? I went out and bought this exact mic, bought that exact camera, and that is the setup that we're using today. And I would have never known that. I would have still been trying to do an iPhone with AirPods had I not seen this video that showed me different products that I could do to make sure I wanted to achieve this exact type of video. So one of those ways with content is actually to use influencers. These are people that are in your space that can really help you get your brand out there even more because they already have a following. They already have an audience. Imagine I'm trying to sell a product that is all about self-help. It's a self-help book. And imagine if Tony Robbins picked it up and started talking about this at his seminar. How much easier would it be for me to sell my book if Tony Robbins talks about it versus if I just try to do it myself? 56% of people, when asked if user-generated content, meaning customer reviews, versus a brand's content, where the actual brand does it, half the people said that they find that user-generated is 10 times more effective. So by actually having customers and other influencers, people who are not associated with your brand per se, review and show the differences, that is way, way, way more effective. And that is the power of using influencers to become omnipresent, because now not only is your brand being seen everywhere, well, these prospects' favorite celebrities, favorite influencers, people that they follow also enjoy your brand. So here's the last way that you really need to make sure that you're doing all this stuff correctly. And how do you get in front of people over and over and over? It is with retargeting. What this means is once somebody already comes to your website or they do some sort of interaction with you, you can actually tell the online gods, hey, let's get back in front of them over and over and over and over again. Let's say, for example, somebody comes to my website, I can then tell YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook, hey, I want you to show them ads over and over and over, so that way they continue to see my brand. 2% of people that come to your website for the first time will actually convert over into a lead or a buyer or whatever your metric is. It's a very, very low number. They say on average, about 70% of people that come to your website will never, ever come ever again. So how do you make sure that you stay in front of them? You use this retargeting to get in front of them over and over and over. So that way you now become that omnipresent brand where they go, okay, like I'm thinking about kitchen remodels. And then they all of a sudden see you on all these social media channels. They're gonna now think that you're legitimate, and it's way more likely to buy because you never know when people are gonna try to hire you or buy from you. I'm gonna be candid here. I've bought stuff on Amazon when I was drinking, where I would go, oh, I don't need that. And then you have a couple beers, and then you go, well, I don't know, this laptop cover is pretty cool. People buy at different times and they're all in their own different stages. So if you have ads that are set up all over the place, so pretty much no matter where they go, they're gonna see you, it's way more likely that they're gonna turn into a customer of yours versus hoping that they come back to your website, even though 70% never will. So with all that being said, you need to be everywhere. Okay, you need to be the Apple, Amazon, or whatever brand that you think of in your space. You need to be that for your industry. The internet is not going anywhere anytime soon. So use the internet to your advantage. Use the website, use social media, use these online platforms, and make sure that you're getting your content out there. Make sure you're running these ads so people never, ever, ever forget about you. And finally, reach out to those in your space that already have a following. So make sure that you guys are using the online world to your advantage and make sure that you're everywhere. Thanks. Do me a favor, hit the like button on this if you enjoyed it because it really helps out the YouTube algorithm. Plus, it just gives good karma, right? Thanks, guys.